Hey, what's up, everyone? I have several things to mention. More craziness. So, regarding more craziness, right now I'm very congested and had a swollen and sore throat. So I don't know, that came up out of nowhere. But first of all, yesterday, if you didn't know, I was trying to do a live stream from my grandparents' property. It's now my nana's property since Papa passed away. So several years ago. So I was walking down that road trying to do a live stream, and I showed the moon, and I was talking about it and how bright it was, and I was trying to show, man, there's so much to talk about. So many Mandela effects, so many changes, so many various flip-flops and shifts that happened for me within the past 24 hours. So I was walking down the road next to her property. It's a gravel road, and then there's there's the farm, and there's the fields. While I was walking down the road, and I was showing the sunset, and I was showing the moon, the moon was unusually bright. It wasn't normal bright. It was too bright to be a half moon. But when I was walking back, I heard something walking next to me. I just got done splitting wood. I split about 11 pieces. I split half. Daddy split half of the wood, and then we put it up, and I put the rest of it up so she can have some wood for when it gets colder again, and maybe some for next winter. But I actually split several pieces, and one that was like a doozy. It wasn't hard. Didn't want to split, and I was able to split it. But back to this. When I was walking down the road on the way back, I heard this bipedal walking. It was 2 footsteps, not like 4 steps like a deer or some other sort of animal. It was like and I would stop and it would go and it would stop. I would stop and it would stop. And it was like following along in the woods in the darkness with me. And you've seen how dark it was in the live stream as best I could do, because this is the way it is up there on her property. And that entire county, we don't get any signal. That's just the way it is. They won't put AT&T towers up there. They have Verizon, but they won't put AT&T. And Verizon bought all the towers. But for some reason, there's a location down her road and in her field, and I get 2-3 bars, and 1 bar on the other field, and 2 bars. It's crazy. So I tried to stream, and I tried to video what I heard. The birds were aggressive. I got down to the fence, and they were chip. It wasn't blue jays either, which are usually they're usually aggressive, blue jays, for some reason, bluebirds. But the fact that these birds were they were part red, but they were very large wingspan, and one of them flew behind me and then hit me in the back, and then just flew back up, and then several of them went and flew off. The other stayed in the tree and just kept hollering at me. So I turned around. I was headed back to the house anyway, headed back to her house. So as I was walking down the road, this thing was walking beside me, going and as I was walking down the road, this thing was following me. And then I said, hello. And it went not like a bear, it was more like a Sasquatch grunt. And then this dark figure just went on through the woods where she usually kept the hay, and it just was gone. It was gone. So I was headed back to the house at that point because it was pretty much turning pitch dark, and I went on back to the house, and that was that. But I heard all of that, and someone later in the night, someone had messaged me about the moon earlier. And interestingly enough, I actually was talking about the moon earlier at about 5:20. I said that the moon, when it went down, did not look right. The moon did not look right at all. And it was oblong. It went across the sky in an unusual way, and it was way too bright for a half moon. Half moons aren't that bright. A full moon is bright. I mean, if the full moon, if this was a full moon, I couldn't imagine how bright it would be. Reminds me of that Bible verse that states that the moon will give off much more light, and it'll be as bright as the sun, and the sun many times more. That's what it reminds me of. But it's just way too bright. Like this woman stated, it's not the moon. It's not the moon that we remember. I don't know what they're trying to pull, but it doesn't. She said it didn't look right, and no, it didn't. But yeah, I heard those sounds. Later that night, when taking my daddy back to work, when we were at the Pilot Travel Center, he walked in there and he wanted to get some of this beef stew that they have, or pot roast, not beef stew, pot roast. He wanted to get some of the pot roast that they had because they have really good pot roast. And he had walked back to the pickup truck where my mama was at. We were going to get her this Keith Urban CD. And we got her the CD. Well, actually, we walked back out there, and then we went back in. But he never put his pot roast in the truck. That's the thing. He actually left. I remember he left his pot roast in the building after he got the CD. He left it in the building. I never remembered him going to the truck to put it in the floorboard. And he went back in the building, and I never remember him opening the door. But he thought he left it in the building, and he opened the door and said, "Oh, well, never mind. There it is." And so it's like he never put it there, but there it was. That's one situation. Another situation, I was going to make sloppy joes yesterday. These 2 cans of sloppy joe mix were laying together with the canned goods, the canned food. They'd been there for a couple of weeks. I'd seen them. My parents seen them. And boom. Suddenly when I'm going to make sloppy joes, I get the burger meat. I'm going to get them. I fix the burger meat. Boom. I'm going to look for the sloppy joe mix. They're not there. It's not there. The can is not, neither can is there. So they disappeared. I don't know where they went. Maybe someone now suddenly has 2 extra cans of sloppy joe mix somewhere. And they're going, where did this come from? Maybe. And then earlier this morning I got all sleepy, and then I got very dark and depressed and a lot of anxiety. I actually had an anxiety attack at, I don't know, early this morning. A couple of hours ago I had an anxiety attack, and I didn't like that at all. So I hated that. And I was hearing things. When I went out to the truck, I was bringing the groceries in. We got a few things that we needed. And hated that we had to spend it because that put us in the negatives, and that put us in the negatives in the bank. But that happens sometimes. Went below on the amount that we had in the bank. But let's see, I had brought the groceries in. I go back outside, and I hear voices. I didn't like what a couple of them said, and so I stated to go to the light, leave me in peace, leave me alone. And so then I hear another voice, and it said, "I got you back. I got you back," or something like that. And I'm thinking, did it say "I got you back" or "I got your back"? And then suddenly, when I'm walking back to the house, my shoe's untied completely. And I'm talking like, I had it tied well, and then it was completely untied in a strange way, and then one string was tied by itself. I wouldn't do that. And then the other one, I wouldn't tie it that way at all. And I'm thinking maybe it said, "I got you back." But for what, I have no idea. That was the spirit voice whispering. Then I go back out to the truck to get more groceries, and I start feeling really bad and really sleepy. I start hearing paranormal sounds there. And then I hear a Native American Indian voice. I hear this voice whisper and state, Comanche, or Comanche. Or Comanche. And so, I then hear it say, white deer and red horse. And then I find out that white deer was a Sioux chief, and red horse was also a Native American Indian chief. And fought, red horse actually fought in the battle. I don't know if it was the Battle of Little Bighorn, but it was against General Custer. So, and he and his people won against General Custer in this current history that played out. So, yeah, that happened. They actually were two chiefs, two Native American Indian chiefs, and their names popped in my head. They were whispered. They were spoken to me. But items disappeared tonight. There were, and no, the moon did not look right. Interesting thing happened at the Pilot Travel Center when I was there. My mama and I were walking in there. I was walking her in there, helping her walk in there after the gas pump. We had to put $50 in the truck to fill it up, so that was more cash gone. And the bad news, we didn't get as much. I mean, practically, my daddy, they told him he can't get practically anything back on taxes this year. They said truck drivers can't claim anything starting this year. That's going to be very hard on us, because usually we use the tax money for. I mean, I don't want to talk about all of our personal stuff on here. I don't know why I'm doing that, but yeah. Back to this. But yeah, I don't know why they did that. But excuse me. They said if I wasn't home that they wouldn't have anything. They wouldn't actually be able to claim as much at all, hardly anything. But back to what happened at Pilot Travel Center, I actually seen Uncle Silas Robertson from Duck Dynasty. He was walking by, but for some reason he looked kind of sad. I don't know why. Kind of sad and just disappointed looking. And he was walking right toward us, and I was thinking, and I asked my mama, that looks like Uncle Si. I was like, is that Uncle Si? And it was him for sure. He was wearing the camo. He had that beard. He had every detail of Uncle Si, and he looked kind of sad. He was looking around. No one was in the Pilot Travel Center, but he was walking toward us, and then he put his head down like he didn't really want to be seen or talked to. Then he went out the door and just walked straight on out, and he walked out to this truck that was Willie Robertson's truck. That was the truck that the Duck Commander truck. And then they went out onto the interstate. I actually looked and watched them. I seen him go toward that truck, and then I seen that truck leave. Yeah, that was his truck. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting there. I've just barely missed Paige from WWE at Pilot before. Let's see, her, Naomi. Let's see, who else was there? There was Natalia, or Natty, yeah. Natalia. And Summer Rae, I think. I've seen all of them at the, well, my daddy seen some of them, and I seen the others at the Pilot. So that was a couple of years ago, but that didn't happen today. But Uncle Si did, and their truck commander, he called it. But yeah, some more items vanished, and suddenly were there. The Big Dipper was out. All of a sudden last night, the Big Dipper was out. And birds this morning making multiple types of sounds. I've never in my life heard birds until recently making multiple types of sounds from one bird. I'll be outside under the trees and I'll hear, this is what the bird was doing. Mee, 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 mee. Doo-doo-doo, 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 doo-doo-doo. Woo, 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 woo. Woo, 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 woo. Ring, 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 ring. Doo, 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 doo. Rew, 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 rew. Doo, 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 doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. Anyway, stuff like that. That's what the bird was doing. Making multiple types of sounds, but from one bird. And there were a couple of them doing that, and that's what they've been doing for the past, I guess, year or so. And in my entire life, I don't ever remember birds doing that, making multiple types of sounds in one bird until recently. There's actually been so much lately that I don't remember happening. And when you experience as many shifts as we do, you kind of try to get used to it. But bad news, the internet, YouTube especially in particular, is planning on banning any recommendations or allowing any recommendations and keeping them down, keeping them hidden, that have to do with conspiracies. How does that affect us? Well, I don't consider our topic a conspiracy, but the rest of this world does. The Mandela effect itself is considered a conspiracy theory, and they say there are too many conspiracy theories going rampant. They consider biblical prophecy conspiracy theory. They consider any prophecy. They consider weather modification topics conspiracy. They consider UFOs, aliens, spirits, spiritual talk. They consider any type of orbs, anything with paranormal, supernatural, cryptids, Sasquatch, Bigfoot. They consider all of that conspiracy. UFOs, anything like Tyler of Security Team was stating. He stated that they are going to, and I've tried contacting him many times, he will not respond. Some people have told me, hey, try to talk to Security Team. Believe me, I've tried to email him. I emailed my UFO footage to him. He wouldn't take it. He wouldn't show it. I've emailed him multiple times. And then he pretty much just stated, look, he said, just do what I did and work your A off. And he pretty much said, work your butt off and grow your own channel and show your own content and you'll get as far as I did, blah, blah, blah. That's what he stated pretty much. He said that you might as well just grow your own channel and do your own thing like he did. He's not going to give free handouts and shout-outs or anything. I was just trying to send, and that was during a live stream when I was talking to him, trying to send him some footage and tell him that I had footage I would like to share. So I'm not sending him footage anymore, so sorry. I'm just stating what happened and what he stated during a live stream. So I didn't consider that very nice, but no hard feelings, whatever. Moving on. And so I'm not sending him anything. I've given him links to my videos, and I've shared him directly in a message. I emailed him, told him where it happened, everything. But I watch a few of his videos every once in a while. Usually he winds up doing videos on what I did, but somehow or other, or using the Strange Sounds Twitter page for his videos like I do. Either way, that might be what he's doing. But as long as the truth gets out there, I don't care. I just want the truth out there, you know what I mean? But the truth is going to be hidden now. And they know that what we're talking about is truth. That's why they don't want it out there, sadly. And they said they're going to halt any talks. That includes, JFK, anything about John F. Kennedy, anything about, speaking of which, I found a piece of metal that one time, and I've lost it. I mean, it disappeared. A piece of metal that had JFK on it. It had F. Kennedy, and it was melted metal that had looked like it had fallen from the sky. Found it on our property. And it had a number on the back of it. And it was the number of the flight that one of the Kennedys, had died on. The flight that crashed. So yeah, that was on that piece of metal that was in our yard. But they don't want you to talk about anything that happens now. Anything, let's just put it this way, anything regarding conspiracies will no longer be recommended to anyone on YouTube. They will no longer show it in recommendations, and no one will see it in their notifications. Very sad. Very, 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 very sad, and that is taking away freedom of speech. Anyway, that's some of the things that have happened. Just a few of the things that have happened. Like I stated, there's been many. There have been many in the last 24 hours for me. So, peace, much love, and that's all for this video. Hopefully it'll actually be seen by people, because with the slowing of freedom of speech, I don't know. President Trump was saying a few days ago that you all are the truthers. He said, you all are the true news. And he said, YouTube, I love you. I love YouTube. He said, I love the YouTubers out there. Keep doing what you're doing. He did state that. That I agree with it. He did. He said, you won't be silenced as long as I'm in here. Well, guess what? They're doing it regardless of what he says. And they're silencing, they're silencing everyone, and they're going to do that regardless, sadly. And also, people are being spammed. People are being, their messages are moved. And during my last video, my last live stream I did yesterday evening, well, one of the live streams I did during yesterday afternoon, actually, in the yard, let's see, Data Junkie got removed. I don't know what happened, and I was like, whoa, wait, what the heck? And other people are being removed. They got blocked. I would not block you. I would not block you all. I would never do that to anyone who's being nice to me. And that would not happen. That would not be purposely done by me. I would only block a user if they were being if they were being a troll or something like that. But, I mean, that's the only way I would block you. So, that's the only reason why. I would never block the people that have been blocked. I don't understand why they were blocked. Unless it's a, software error, YouTube error, I don't know, a glitch of some sort. Maybe during the live stream I accidentally selected that, and I don't know. I know it said suddenly hide comments from this person. I went, wait, what? And then I unhid them. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but that did happen yesterday. And I would not do that on purpose to the people who are being nice to me like you all are. So, thank you all for sharing with me. Yeah, it's been a lot. There's been a lot happening in the past 24 hours or so. Not even 24 hours, but there's also been a lot of high energy, high frequency. And I've been seeing and hearing a lot. Seeing and hearing many things. The frequency vibration is raising again. The awakening symptoms came back, and I'm hearing having ear ringing and everything. And right before those situations happened, when we were heading back home from Nana's, my ear was ringing. It rang all of a sudden, like in one of those shift type of situations, and then those strange situations started escalating afterwards. So anyway, peace and much love. That's what's happening. Hopefully they'll let this video be seen and won't restrict the freedom of speech. Peace, much love. Bye.